Hello everyone. I think it is already a minute past 2:15. We should get started with our today's session. And today's session is on understanding conservation. We will look at the meaning of conservation. We shall look at the importance of conservation and also the reasons as to why people have taken long to embrace the ethic of conservation. Those are the areas that we expect to cover in today's session. So I welcome you all to this session for today. To begin with, conservation simply means, in English, it means to keep something safe or in a sound state. So ordinarily, that is the meaning of conservation. When you are able to keep something safe or you are keeping it in a sound state, then you have actually conserved. Balak. Are you getting me? Yes. So when you look at that English definition of conservation, keeping something safe or in sound state, does it mean when you're abstaining, you're also conserving?
No.
What is abstinence is what? Is distraction? Or
To
wasting?
abstain, like when the resources is there, but you don't touch it, it means you're abstaining, so you're not keeping it safe.
Okay. You know what you mean there. So conservation is simply about wise use of the resources. When you are careful in the way you are using the resources in the environment, then you are practicing conservation. So careful preservation or protection of something. You see there is a difference there. We are saying careful preservation and then careful protection. So when we say careful preservation, yes, we know that preservation ordinarily means somebody should not touch it, should not tamper with it, should not touch or tamper with a natural resource that is under preservation. Example of preservation areas could be a zoo, for instance. Resources in the zoo cannot be tampered with by human beings. So that one is a preservation area. We can also talk of preservation in terms of national parks. Can somebody mute, they are using two gadgets or you are two people in the same room. So you need to mute one of the gadgets. It's transmitting echo. It's either Faith or Dorcas. I don't know if you people are close, but there is some trouble transmitting from that side. And it's affecting our hearing ability. Kindly disable one of your machines. It's giving us echo. Am I the only one getting the echo?
No, it's everyone, even this side. Faith.
It's everyone. It's Faith's mic which is on.
Faith, put it off.
Faith, eh? Faith, you are watching TV as well as attending class?
Where am I even late?
But now you have mentioned your name and the echo is gone. So we are okay now? But it's still coming back. Anyway, check around your environment, you could be interfering with our hearing ability. And it disturbs a lot people who are using headsets. That echo is very bad in their ears. Can we be fair to each other? If you have extra gadgets, anything that is likely to create or cause that funny noise, try to disable it. Or it is this Clovis. Clovis, you again did the same thing last time. Can you assist us by disabling one of your gadgets?
For Clovis,
If she mutes the mic, everything will be fine.
For Clovis.
No, for Faith. Lobby is on. It's on.
The mic is on. Faith, can you mute yourself? Okay, Faith has done that. But Faith, mute yourself. If you cannot mute yourself, I can come there and help you. Faith, I can come there. Are you not seeing me? I'm already here. You ask me any question and I will help you. Yes? We didn't tell you to run away, but it's okay. That is even much better. Okay, so let's proceed. So we have said that keeping something safe or in a sound state is what we call conservation. Also, we can say that when we carefully preserve something or carefully protect it, in this case, the natural resources, then we have also practiced conservation. I was trying to emphasize the fact that we are mentioning the word careful there. Why it is very vital to mention careful preservation is that preservation and protection are very harsh programs that actually stop or halt or completely do not allow people to tamper with a natural resource or a natural part of the environment. Unfortunately, we cannot do without people tampering with a certain section of the environment. It's not possible. People must rely on the environment for supporting themselves on a daily basis. So if we are to ensure that we support or allow people to use the environment to benefit themselves, at the same time we are gaining from preservation and protection, especially the objectives behind the two, then we have to ensure that there is what we call careful preservation and careful protection. In this instance, it allows communities to at least access the environment or access the natural resources within the environment, but they have to use that particular part of the environment or that particular resource sustainably, to use it wisely. That's why conservation is defined as careful preservation as well as careful protection. In other words, wise use of the resources. I was asking Balak whether keeping something safe and in a sound state, it would be the same as abstinence. And I think he said no, it doesn't mean the same. Probably now it could be careful preservation and careful protection, whereby you are in position to use, but you are using the resource carefully. Those are the things you are practicing at the place where you are right now. The government already is worried what you are doing in those places. You are not carefully preserving our resources. You might be encroaching. By the time you come back, you find when you are a different person in November. We are seriously waiting to see whether these faces we are seeing here, the same people that we sent home in June. You find some have grown even gray hair because of too much stress of carrying babies and babies. You can imagine in 3 months you have had 2 babies. And it is possible. I don't know if you know that it's possible. It's possible if you are carrying twins while at campus by June you were 6 months pregnant. Now you have delivered already twins. So it is possible. Even 3 is possible. We hope that even when you have them, you are still carefully preserving and protecting our resources, like Balak had suggested earlier on. So conservation is planned management of natural resources to prevent, one is exploitation. So when we are planning on how to manage our resources, we are doing that so that we can, as much as possible, prevent exploitation, but not just exploitation, but over-exploitation. Like I said earlier on, that people can go ahead to exploit the resources within the environment. Nata the Real, I don't know who this person is. Nata the Real, you mute yourself when you are joining us. At the same time, you might have to make sure you change your name. We need to know whether you are Nata the Real or Real the Nata. We will do the changing of your name so that for purposes of attendance, we need real names. Don't put those botanical names. I will also put mine as botanical next time, and you will get lost. I'll put up my video, and then I'll tell you I'm the lecturer, and you will fail to know whether I'm the one. So for purposes of attendance, so that we can record and know who has been attending, you need to always reflect your correct names. In future, we shall even ask for registration numbers, where you are attending from, and so on. And unfortunately, in the future might be in third wave, and we don't know if third wave is coming. And I'm very sure the third wave is coming. I'm again prophesizing third wave is on the way, but it will first allow you to come and sit the exam. Then after exam, we will even start the next semester, and then the third wave sets in place. Doctors, I'm seeing you're worried. Don't be worried. It will come because of how careless we have already become. There is excitement in Kampala that cases of COVID-19 have dropped drastically in the city, that people now have put off their masks. Those of you who are around the city, you know what I'm talking about. Those of you who are away, when you get back here, you will see it happening, and then you will borrow it. COVID has not gone. COVID is still around. It is still with us for some time. I'm told it will be there up to 2022. But if care is not taken, the final year is 2023. So our carelessness may lead us to third wave, but it will take some small time before we are in third wave. It may come sometime around February or March of next year, after you coming to spread what you have brought from up country to some of us at the university. We are struggling to get vaccinated, but you will come and play reckless, and then we'll again fall sick. Pray for us, you people, for us who chose this profession. You are lucky you chose a different path. Okay, let's put that aside. Please don't again get demoralized that I've talked about COVID-19 and so on. It has been here for some time, and may be here for another 1 or 2 years. Just make sure wherever you are, when you come this side, you follow the standard operating procedures until the World Health Organization declares that Uganda is free of COVID-19. That has been the message every time we have a pandemic. Why is it this time that we are the ones to announce that there is no corona by putting off our masks? If there has been no announcement, then we have to continue following the advice from the experts. Don't pretend to be the expert. That social media might be telling you the truth, might also be lying to you. But we have seen that every time we follow what social media says, we move into the next wave of COVID-19. When we listen to the social media, again, another wave of COVID-19. Please be agents of change wherever you are. Advocate for those people to always make sure they follow the standard operating procedures. COVID is still around with us. That message is coming to you because you are reporting back to the university next month, but 1. So when you're coming back, don't get excited and don't get taken over by events. So careful exploitation talks about, planned management of natural resources is about us preventing over exploitation of the resources. We will allow people to exploit the resources, but wisely at least. Let them encroach on the forests, but how do they encroach there? It should be wisely, probably emphasizing selective harvest of the forest products. Destruction of resources has to be prevented. If we plan very well the management of the resources, then we shall have prevented destruction of these resources. Or, like Balak had said earlier on, that abstinence is like you are not actually using the resources. So in planned management of natural resources, or what we call conservation, it also runs away from the habit of neglecting the natural resources. So natural resources stand abuse through overexploitation and destruction. But also, natural resources can be abused through neglect. So when we neglect a certain part of the environment, again, that one is also not good. What is good is careful use. What is good is careful exploitation of the environmental resources. Wise use. So conservation cautions every one of us to be responsible citizens of this planet, and that we should be involved in its protection, you and me. The responsibility is not only for the tourists, is not only for the environmentalists, is not only for the natural scientists, it is for everyone on this planet who wants to live a life that is good now and is good tomorrow. And those people include me and you and the rest of the human beings, other plants and animals out there. They all want to survive on this planet. It can only happen when we consciously practice conservation. So the World Conservation Strategy defines conservation as management of human use of the biosphere. Somebody is going to ask me, what does biosphere mean? Biosphere means the part of the planet that supports life. Then the hydrosphere is the part of the planet that contains water, or the liquid part of our planet. The lithosphere is the solid part of the planet, which includes rocks and soils. And then the atmosphere is just about the gaseous part of our planet. So the World Conservation Strategy defines conservation as management of human use of the biosphere, which is the part that supports life, the hydrosphere, which is the liquid part of the planet, the lithosphere, which is the solid part, and the atmosphere, which is the gases, so that it may yield the greatest sustainable benefits for the present generation while maintaining its potential to meet the needs and aspirations of the future generations. And in the previous lecture, I remember telling you that we are part of the present generation as well as part of the future generation. We are here today, but a few minutes from now, we shall still be here. We are here today, we are here the next few minutes, we shall be here next year, we shall be here in the next 5 years, 30 years from now, 40 years, and 50 years for some of us. I'm saying some of us, I hope I will also be available in the next 50 years. If you know my age and then you add 50 years, by now you should be doubting if I will be around in the next 50 years. And the fact is that the life expectancy for Uganda has kept on dropping. Of recent, it increased a little bit, but you'll find that we can survive up to 60 years, but to go up to 70, 80 years, you have to bargain with God. It has to depend on what you inherited from your parents. It depends on the environment. Like for us who live in Kampala, the city is polluted. The bodabodas can knock you even when you are in your house. You can imagine. You just move out of your house like this, in the next minute, your people hear that you are gone to see the Creator, because bodabodas can ride almost everywhere in Kampala. There is no restriction. Sometimes even as you are walking along the street on the walkway, they can come from behind and knock you, you know. That one shortens your lifespan on this planet. So some of those factors might actually make us not to live up to that distant future. But at least I'm very sure I will be around tomorrow. I will also be around to give you exams when you come sometime end of this year and so on. So I'm still here. I'm still part of the present, part of the immediate future, part of the long-term future. I will be around. I also want to stay until I see my grandchildren. Already I'm seeing grandchildren because some of our brothers and sisters have already produced kids, and those kids have also produced young ones. So I'm already seeing them, but I want to see my own. So gray hair has to appear on that head, even though I think I might develop gray hair when I'm probably 70 years. Who knows? You know, with technology now, maybe I may not even have gray hair. You know, this is Kampala. I will be dyeing my hair all the time. So let's just proceed. Okay. So we have to preserve the environment so that it supports you and me. You and me, and then those who will come after us. That is the definition from the World the Conservation Strategy. Let's look at the importance of conservation. You know, conservation is as a result of realization that our environment was in danger of being destroyed and being depleted. Of course, because we didn't undertake certain steps to save the environment. So it was under threat of being destroyed. It results from the moral conviction that all of us have an obligation to reserve resources because they do not belong to us. So whereas conservation at first arose because we were able to see how our impact was causing the destruction of the natural resources, also it was because we realized that for the environment, for the resources in the environment to be safe, to be okay, for me and you to benefit from them now and into the future, then we must take it upon ourselves. We must accept that it's our obligation, your obligation, my obligation to save the environment. So conservation, first of all, arose because we realized that we were destroying the environment, but secondly, because we have the obligation to save everything within this planet. Don't forget that we borrowed these resources from our parents, and therefore we should be able to conserve these resources and pass them on to the future generation. So conservation is a necessity because nature supports life, including human life, and it is carried out in order to achieve a number of things. One of them is to maintain essential ecological systems. I know now that should be very difficult for Namuyobia. That name is very difficult. Okay, that should be very hard for Nasuru. Is it Nasuru or Nasura? Tuhura. That phrase or statement should be hard for Anena Masi. At least that one is easy. Those are my neighbors. Or Duanga Kelvin. Those are my relatives somewhere up in the country there. Now, ecological systems is simply, for the environmentalists also, it might be hard, but ecological systems are ecosystems, what you call ecosystems. But to simplify, an ecosystem simply refers to the unit of environment where we find living and non-living things interacting together in harmony. To make it very, very simple, very light for us, these are like habitats or homes for plants and animals and other non-living things. That's what we call an ecosystem, or when you enlarge it, it is an ecological system. So we conserve so that we maintain the homes, habitats, or ecosystems which enable the earth to serve as a home to man and other species. So when we conserve, then we shall have a variety of rivers, a variety of forests, variety of lakes, variety of mountains, variety of rangelands, variety of swamps, a variety of every ecosystem on this planet is possible only through conservation. Now, each of these habitats, each of these ecosystems is very essential for the maintenance of life on this planet in terms of rainfall formation, in the maintenance of temperature, especially conducive temperatures for you and me, for food, or what you call food security, for cleaning our water. Last time I was giving you an example of how in Kampala we are consuming water that is recycled. The reason is simple. We have cleared swamps that used to naturally clean the water in the city. Now all the dirty water ends up in the lake. And if we don't treat that water, then the population will be affected. By that explanation, already you should be understanding that when we maintain essential ecological systems, then we are able to enable the earth to serve as a home to both man and other species. Conservation is also carried out in order to maintain a variety. When we conserve, then we shall have a variety of fish resources in a river, in a lake, in a swamp, in a stream. When we conserve, then we shall have a variety in a forest. Different types of trees, different types of animals in that forest through practice of conservation. So we conserve so that we can be able to maintain a variety or a diversity within our planet, which of course is a basis for our own survival. Ecologists know that on this planet we have two types of organisms. We have specialists and generalists. A specialist kind of organism is that one that relies on a specific type of organism as a source of nourishment, or in simple terms, an organism that relies on one particular type of food. Let me make the example much more simpler. There are people who cannot survive when there is no beans. So if they are only relying on beans for survival, then probably such people can be referred to as specialists in terms of ecological let me come back, give me a minute.